How's everyone doing? Today's a very special day. Today we finish all the basic levels. In this lesson, we will master the verb be and auxiliary be in past, was, and were. Remember to use the one with an S, was, for singular nouns, including for the first and only time the pronoun I was. Como podrás notar en esta gráfica, was porta la A de am y la S de es. Were porta al final la RE de are para indicar su pasado. So remember that the past form of am and is was. And for the plural nouns, the past of are is were. For example, where was I? Una pregunta muy común cuando se te olvida dónde te quedaste en una plática. ¿Dónde estaba? ¿O dónde me quedé? Where was I? Empecemos como en el principio con objetos en singular y plural, con los pronombres it y su forma plural they. Where was the book? It was on the desk. Where were the books? They were on the desk. Where was the globe? It was on the table. Where were the rulers? They were on the chair. Where was the dictionary? It was on the bookshelf. Where were the books? They were in the bookshelf. Where was the pencil? It was on the desk. Where was the clock? It was on the wall. Where were the rulers? They were on the chair. Where were the scissors? They were on the chair. All right. Now let's do it with all of the pronouns. Where were you? I was in the bedroom. Where were you? We were in the kitchen. Where were Jim and Pam? They were in the living room. Where was the teacher? He was in the bathroom. Where were Mr. and Mrs. Park? They were in the dining room. Where was Kathy? She was in the garage. Where were you and Gil? We were in the basement. Where was Sam? He was at the restaurant. Where was Sarah? She was at the bank. Where were Carl and Kim? They were at the supermarket. Where were you and Mom? We were at the park. Where were you? I was at the library. Where was Linda? She was at the movies. Where were Mr. and Mrs. Lee? They were at the post office. Where was the monkey? It was at the zoo. Where was I? You were in the hospital. All right, good job. Now let's do the reading. All the students in my English class were absent yesterday. All the students in my English class were absent yesterday. George was absent. He was in the hospital. Maria was absent. She was at the dentist. Mr. and Mrs. Sato were absent. They were at the Social Security office. Even our English teacher was absent. He was at home in bed. What a shame. Everybody in my English class was absent yesterday. Everybody except me. Or everybody but me. Where was George? He was in the hospital. Very good. Remember, hospital is the only place that goes with in, not with at. Where was Maria? She was at the dentist. Where were Mr. and Mrs. Sato? They were at the Social Security office. Where was the English teacher? He was at home in bed. All right. Ahora, sabiendo ya utilizar el pasado de was y were, seguramente no nos costará ningún trabajo poder hablar de instantes, pero en el pasado. Un instante en el pasado. In the park. The Jones family was in the park today. The sun was shining and the birds were singing. It was a beautiful day. Mr. Jones was reading the newspaper. Mrs. Jones was listening to the radio. Sally and Patty Jones were studying, and Tommy Jones was playing the guitar. A butterfly was flying in front of Tom. He was looking at it a while ago. The Jones family was very happy today. It was a beautiful day, and they were at the park. Where were these people at 12 o'clock? For example, where was Jenny Chang? She was at the library. What was she doing? She was studying. Where was Mr. Molina? He was at the park. Good. And what was he doing? He was listening to the radio. Very good. Where were Mr. and Mrs. Sharp? They were at the laundromat. Very good. What were they doing? Yes, they were washing their clothes. Where was Charlie Harris? He was at the gym. And what was he doing? ¿Qué estaba haciendo? He was doing his exercises. Where was Danny Williams? He was outside the restaurant. What was he doing? He was fixing his bike. Where was Patty Williams? She was outside the restaurant too. And what was she doing? She was washing her car. Where were John and Julie Carter? They were at the park. What were they doing? They were playing basketball. Where was Mrs. Roberts? She was at the park too. What was she doing? She was reading the newspaper. Where was Bob Davis? He was at work. What was Bob doing? He was cooking, or he was working. Where were you yesterday at 12 o'clock? What were you doing? All right, now let's do the final reading. Everybody at 149 River Street was very busy this morning. Mr. Price was cleaning his bedroom. Miss Hunter was painting her bathroom. Ricky was feeding his cat. Mr. and Mrs. Wong were washing their clothes. Mrs. Martin was doing her exercises. I was very busy too. I was washing my windows. And of course, I was watching all my neighbors. They were doing their chores. Chores, sus quehaceres. All right, congratulations everyone. We have been hired. Hemos sido contratados para hacer comerciales para la compañía Presto. Veamos un adjetivo y su antónimo o su opuesto. Sad, happy, clean, dirty, heavy or fat, pesado o gordo, thin, delgado, hungry, hambriento, full, lleno, sick, enfermo, healthy, sano, tiny, diminuto, enormous, enorme. Number 7, dual, opaco, shiny, brilloso o brillante. Comfortable, uncomfortable. Tired, cansado. Energetic, con energía. All right, so let's rehearse our Presto commercials. Before our family bought Presto vitamins, we were always tired. I was tired, my wife was tired, my children were tired too. Now we're energetic because we bought Presto vitamins. How about you? ¿Qué hay de ti? Intentemos con esta. Recuerda poner pausa siempre y crear los diálogos tú mismo, escribirlos si es posible, si no decirlos en voz alta y después checar tus respuestas conmigo. Presto commercials. Before our family bought Presto ice cream, we were always sad. My wife was sad, my children were sad, but now we're happy because we bought Presto ice cream. All right, let's talk about Presto bread. Before our family bought Presto bread, we were always hungry. My wife was hungry, my children were hungry. Now we're full because we bought Presto bread. Good job. Presto commercials. Before our family bought Presto soap, we were always dirty. My wife was dirty, my children were dirty. Now we're clean. My wife is clean, my children are clean because we bought Presto soap. Before our family bought Presto cereal, we were always sick. My wife was sick, my children were sick. Now we're healthy. My wife is healthy, my children are healthy because we bought Presto cereal. Before our family bought Presto skim milk, we were always heavy. My wife was heavy, my children were heavy. Now we're thin. My wife is thin, my children are thin because we bought Presto skim milk. All right, now make one of your own. Mándanos en los comentarios tu propio comercial para Presto. All right, let's practice some more. Before I bought Presto shampoo, my hair was always dry and dirty. Now it's fresh and clean. Before we bought Presto toothpaste, our teeth were yellow. Now they're white. Before we bought Presto paint, our house was ugly. Now it's beautiful. Before I bought Presto armchair, I was uncomfortable. Now I'm very comfortable. Before we bought Presto dog food, our dog was tiny. Now it's huge. Before I bought Presto window cleaner, my windows were dirty. Now they're clean. Before we bought Presto floor wax, our kitchen floor was dull. Now it's shiny. Más adelante volveremos a ver el auxiliar am is en are y was he were con los verbos en pasado participio en gris para la voz pasiva en el nivel avanzado. Para decir frases comunes como ¿cuándo naciste? Aunque el verbo nacer como tal no existe en inglés, pero sí el verbo portar o concebir, bear, diciendo ¿cuándo fuiste concebido o portado? When were you born? Yo fui portado o concebido. I was born in 1975. También haremos preguntas en presente como ¿dónde está hecho este lápiz? Where is this pencil made? Recordemos que al responder preguntas sí o no, preguntas que inician con el auxiliar, contestaremos sí o no, más el pronombre con su correspondiente auxiliar. En este caso, was o were. En los siguientes diálogos iniciaremos haciendo una pregunta sí o no, como ¿estuviste en el partido anoche? Were you at the ball game last night? Contestaríamos con un sí o no de esta manera. Yes, I was, or no, I wasn't. En los diálogos contestaremos de forma negativa, no, I wasn't, lo cual incita a la pregunta. Where were you? ¿Dónde estabas? Were you at the ball game last night? No, I wasn't. Where were you? I was at the movies. Was Albert happy yesterday? No, he wasn't. How was he? He was sad. Were they at home this morning? No, they weren't. Where were they? They were at school. Was it cold yesterday? Yes, it was. What was the weather like? It was very hot. Was I a quiet baby? No, you weren't. What was I like? You were a noisy baby. Was your grandfather a doctor? No, he wasn't. What was he? He was an actor. Were you at home last weekend? No, we weren't. Where were you? We were at the beach. Was Gloria on time for her plane? No, she wasn't. She was late. Were your children late for the school bus? No, they weren't. They were on time. Was the food good at the restaurant? No, it wasn't. How was it? It was bad. Now let's mix these two tenses. All right. Did you sleep well last night? ¿Dormiste bien anoche? Yes, I did. I was tired. Did Roger sleep well last night? No, he didn't. He wasn't tired. Did Frank have a big breakfast? Yes, he did. He was hungry. Did Emma have a small breakfast? No, she didn't. She wasn't hungry. Did Mr. Chen go to the doctor yesterday? Yes, he did. He was sick. Did Mrs. Chen go to the doctor yesterday? No, she didn't. She wasn't sick. Did Billy finish his milk? Yes, he did. He was thirsty. Did Katie finish her milk? No, she didn't. She wasn't thirsty. Did Sonia miss the train? Yes, she did. She was late. Did Stuart miss the train? No, he didn't. He was on time. All right, now let's do a reading. Maria Gomez. Maria Gomez was born in Peru. She grew up in a small village. She began school when she was 6 years old. She went to elementary school, but she didn't go to high school. Her family was very poor, and she had to work when she was 13 years old. She worked on an assembly line in a shoe factory. When Maria was 17 years old, her family moved to the United States. First, they lived in Los Angeles, and then she moved to San Francisco. When she arrived to the United States, she wasn't very happy. She missed her friends back in Peru, and she didn't speak one word of English. She began to study English at night, and she worked in a big factory during the day. Maria studied Very hard. She learned English and she got a good job as a secretary. Maria still studies at night, but now she studies advertising at a business school. She wants to work for an advertising company someday and write commercials. Maria still misses her friends back home, but she communicates with them very often over the internet. She's very happy now and she's looking forward to an exciting future. Está viendo con ansiedad o hacia adelante a un emocionante futuro. Now let's answer these questions. Where was Maria born? She was born in Peru. Did she grow up in a large city? No, she didn't. She grew up in a small village. When did she begin school? She began school when she was 6. What happened when she was 13 years old? She had to work when she was 13 years old. Why was she unhappy when she arrived in the United States? She wasn't very happy because she missed her friends back in Peru. What is her occupation? She's a secretary. What does she want to do in the future? She wants to work for an advertising company someday. How does she communicate with her friends? She communicates with them over the internet. Very good, guys. All right, now answer these questions about yourself. Mándanos en los comentarios estas preguntas acerca de ti. Where were you born? Did you grow up in a large city? What did you look like? Were you tall? Were you handsome? Were you cute? Did you have curly hair? ¿Tenías cabello chino? Did you have dimples? Son esos huequitos que se nos hacen en los cachetes. Did you have freckles? ¿Tenías pecas? What did they look like? Short. Fairly short. Medium height. Pretty tall. Bastante alto. Tall or huge. Enorme. What do they look like? He's young. She's middle-aged. And he's an elderly person. What do they look like? He's handsome. They're good-looking. She's pretty or beautiful. What do they look like? He's blonde and he has a goatee. Oh, he has a blonde goatee. He's bald. Calvo o pelón. She has curly red hair. He has straight dark hair. He has a mustache and a beard. She has long blonde hair. She has short gray hair. Choose at least 4 expressions to describe yourself and your partner. Me. I'm fairly short. I am 7 feet tall. I am young and good looking. I have long curly hair. I don't have a mustache. My partner, well, she's fairly tall. She's 6 feet tall. She's middle-aged and beautiful. She has long blonde hair. She doesn't have any earrings. All right, now let's complete the conversations with the simple present tense and the present or past form of the verb be. Ready? What does your sister do? My sister is an engineer. Who does she work for? She works for a construction company. Who was she with in this picture? She was with her boss. Is she married? No, she's single. How old was she in this picture? She was 32. Now she's 33. What does your brother do? My brother is a designer. Who does he work for? He works for a TV channel. Where was he in this picture? He was in his office. How old was he in this picture? He was 28. Now he's 45. Where does he live? He lives with us. Is this you? That's right. Where were you in this picture? I was at school. You looked tired. Were you tired? Yes, I was. Where did you like to study? I liked to study in the library. How old were you in this picture? I was 17. What does your sister-in-law do? She's a secretary. Does she have any children? Yes, she has a daughter. Where was she in this picture? She was at work. She looked heavy. Was she pregnant? Yes, she was 6 months pregnant. How old was she in this picture? She was 25. She's 26 now. All right, now let's do a reading about traditional French culture families and families around the world. In traditional French culture, families are very small. Sarah and Philip have one daughter and a son. Their daughter's name is Monique. She's in the 3rd grade. She loves to go to school. Their son Greg is only 3 years old, so he has to stay home with his mother. They spend lots of time together. Philip works for an automotive company. They are very happy. They want to have more children. Ronald and Kathy have a very large family. They have 4 sons and 6 daughters. 2 of their daughters are twins, gemelas. One of their daughters is pregnant now. All their daughters and sons are married. Ronald and Kate also have many grandchildren. They miss their children very much. They live in different countries and have different occupations. Ronald doesn't see his children very often, but he often sends them emails. Kathy likes to travel a lot, so she visits her children twice a year. They usually get together on Christmas Eve and give each other presents. Meet the Rodriguez family. They're from Mexico, but they live in Canada. They have a 2-year-old child. His name is Mauricio. He's an only child, es hijo único. In some cultures, the government has a one-child policy. En algunas culturas, el gobierno tiene una política de un solo niño. You can have only one child. In the future, they won't have any uncles or aunts because there won't be any sisters or brothers. Some people don't agree, but some think that an only one child can have more benefits. In our next lessons, we will begin to review the verb and start creating new statements and songs with the new lessons for basic called scrambled sentences. Here, we will be challenged to unscramble any scrambled sentence in around 3 seconds. At first, it will take you maybe 10 seconds, but you will little by little, day by day, get to do any scrambled sentence in any tense in around 3 seconds. With only a color and the verb in simple form and mastering Rule 3, you will create any type of sentence, either affirmative, negative, or interrogative. We will review all the most important verbs from 1 to 216 in different tenses. Then we will review each tense from each of our 100 different songs. Get ready. Remember that intermediate, advanced, and the pro level will be given online to any part of the world. Cheers, everyone. See you soon.